Hello, everyone, and hey, welcome to What's Up with Real Estate, where we cover the week's three most important talking points from the previous week's real estate and mortgage-related news. And if I seem distracted, I am because I'm trying to manage behind the background the show, and one of my channels is missing. So say hi to the crowd.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Sol, your co-host here to bring you expert insights and strategies in real estate. Mac and I are thrilled to dive into this week's top three topics, keeping you informed and ahead of the curve.
Thanks.
While Mac sorts out the technical side, let's get ready to tackle the latest in real estate and mortgage news together.
Thank you, Sol. Today's talking points are timber inflation and its impact on mortgage rates from easing bond yields, and why inventory challenges continue to persist across the country, with exception of some geographic areas that we're going to talk about. And also stay tuned for thought-provoking Did You Know, a Stoic quote of the week, audience Q&A, and you know what? We're going to have some fun. We're going to poke fun at real estate agents, mortgage lenders, and builders. All this and more news you can use for week ending January 17th, 2025. I am your host, and that's First Name Mortgage, last name Mac, and that's Mortgage Mac. And you know what? We believe we make a difference in the lives of the people that we serve. And if you don't believe us, just go to our Google address and or digital address at #MortgageMac. And with my co-host today, Sol. Say hi again, Sol.
Thanks, Mac. Hi again, everyone. I'm Sol, here to bring my years of real estate experience and a little extra fun to today's show. We've got some big topics to tackle: chamber inflation, bond yields, and those ever-persistent inventory challenges. And I'm excited to dig in. Plus, with our thought-provoking segments and a little humor, it's going to be an episode you don't want to miss.
Okay,
let's
so
get started and make it a great one.
Thank you, Sol. So we're going to start with talking point number one. And hey, you know what? Tamer inflation. And December's inflation data showed progress, with the core CPI rising just 0.2% month over month, and the year over year rate falling slightly to 3.25. While it's not the Fed's 2% core PCE target, this signals improvement for the bond market and mortgage rates. Now, let's bring in our co-host today, and let's see if Sol, can you give us a
inflation is definitely a positive sign, especially for the bond market, which directly impacts mortgage rates. With the core CPI showing just a slight month-over-month increase and year-over-year inflation easing, it gives investors some breathing room. While we're not quite at the Fed's target, this progress could mean some stabilization ahead. Lower inflation often leads to easing bond yields, which could trickle down to more favorable mortgage rates. It's a trend to keep an eye on as we move through the year. What's your take, Mac?
So, hey, you know what? I have two questions, and here's what I want you to do. I would like for you to, in a short definition, define CPI and then PCE.
Sure thing, Mac. CPI, or Consumer Price Index, measures the average change in prices over time for a basket of goods and services commonly purchased by households, like food, energy, and housing. PCE, or Personal Consumption Expenditures, is another inflation measure, but focuses more on what people are actually spending, including substitutions they make, making it the Fed's preferred gauge for price stability.
Perfect. Now that we know the definition, can you briefly share how these two figures impact the Federal Reserve's decisions on interest rates?
Absolutely. The CPI shows how inflation is affecting the average consumer's cost of living, while the PCE provides a broader and more flexible measure of inflation, including changes in consumer behavior. The Federal Reserve uses these figures to assess inflation trends and decide whether to raise, lower, or hold interest rates. Higher inflation typically leads the Fed to increase rates to cool the economy, while lower inflation might prompt rate cuts to stimulate growth.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Moving on. Let's move on to talking point number two. Talking point number 2 today is, hey, finally got some relief, the easing of CPI really provided a much needed relief for the bond market, the stock market, and the mortgage market, and I believe just about everyone, because the yield on the 10-year US Treasury bond fell significantly, and last week we were predicting that it was going to approaching 5% and potentially go over 5%, which would be sort of over the cliff. And we hadn't seen figures like that since October. And if you look at the graph here, in October of 2023, we had a high of interest rates of over 8%. So thankfully, there was some economic data that offered real, genuine relief. We saw the average 30-year mortgage rate decline from 7.25 to 7.11. However, despite these improvements, the market expectations for a Federal Reserve rate cut in January 29 is still overwhelmingly no. Now, we're going to bring Sol in here, and we're going to let Sol elaborate on this information with us. And Sol, we have a question for you. Can you share with us, based on your observations, the likelihood that mortgage rates will continue to improve in 2025?
Thanks, Mac. Based on the current trends, I'd say there's cautious optimism for improvement in mortgage rates throughout 2025. The easing of CPI and the corresponding drop in the 10-year Treasury yield are strong indicators of stabilization. If inflation continues to moderate and economic growth remains steady without overheating, the bond market could maintain lower yields, keeping mortgage rates in check or even nudging them down further. However, the Fed's reluctance to cut rates quickly signals a measured approach, so any significant declines in mortgage rates will likely be gradual rather than sharp. For now, it's all about monitoring inflation data and the Fed's response to ensure rates stay on a downward trajectory.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Let's move on for a message from my favorite mortgage company, Mack&CHAT.
Looking to purchase a new home? The Rate app from Guaranteed Rate has got you covered. Once you've downloaded the Rate app, click to log in and create your password. This will take you to the intro page. Click the gray Same Day or Home Loans tile, and then click the red Apply Now button. Then click Start a New Loan. Begin by telling us where you are in the home buying process. Typically, for a pre-approval, you will click What Can I Afford? From there, the Rate app will load a series of simple questions. Answer each one the best you can as you move along. Once you've completed the application, your loan officer will receive a notification so they can review your information and set up your personalized checklist. The Rate app even allows you to upload documents right from your phone. It's just that easy. And if you do get stuck or have any questions, just give us a call. We'll be sure to get your questions answered so we can get you one step closer to owning the home of your dreams. The Rate app from Guaranteed Rate, simplifying life's biggest purchase.
Hey, thank you, Rate. And look, hey, we have a world-class mobile application, and we make handling, finances much simpler. You can get a mortgage in a day. Literally, you can get approved in a day, and you can apply for a personal loan and get a decision in 5 minutes. You can even shop your insurance and stay connected with me, yours truly, 24/7, and everything you need to crush your financial goals. And to download your copy, go to www.mortgagemack.com and use the QR code to download my world-class mobile application. So we're going to move to talking point number 3, and we're going to bring Sol back into this conversation here momentarily. And so I'm still working on having Sol as my co-host because, look, Sol just knows everything. So let's continue with talking point number 3. Where's the inventory? Over the course of 2024, let me tell you, inventory did increase, and it increased 28% in 2024 over the previous year, and is now 16% below pre-pandemic levels. However, this is the key. And, and I feel somewhat confident feel somewhat grateful that I live in Texas, because Texas, California, and Florida represent 36% of that inventory, despite having just 27% of the population. And in many others areas, especially the Midwest, Northeast, inventory is still 40 to 70% below pre-pandemic levels. Now, let's bring Sol in here and let's get a perspective from her. And Sol, I have a question in reference to inventory. Based on your current research, what would you say has been the primary driver for the current low home for sale inventory in the United States?
The primary driver for the current low home inventory is largely due to a combination of factors. One key factor is homeowners holding onto their properties longer, partly due to low mortgage rates they locked in previously, which makes them less inclined to sell and purchase new homes at higher rates. Additionally, there are supply chain issues and labor shortages that have slowed new construction, making it challenging to increase housing supply. Furthermore, there's a strong demand driven by millennials entering the housing market and remote work trends allowing people more flexibility in choosing where to live, further intensifying competition for available homes. Would you like to discuss any strategies to navigate this market?
No, I think that was a great encapsulation of that subject, and I do appreciate it. We're going to move on to Did You Know? So we're going to let you remain on the screen, and we're going to focus on Did You Know? Financing for first-time home buyers generally is 94% of the sales price, well, wherein repeat buyers finance up to 84%. So clearly first-time home buyers have less money and less resources for down payment. Clearly people that are buying their next home have more. And that's why it's so important to become a homeowner, to buy that first home and look at that first home. You know, I have lots of first-time home buyers call me and they're looking for their dream home. And I'm like, maybe your dream home is not in the plans right now for you financially, but let's at least buy something so that you can begin to establish an equity position in real estate so that you can take that next step upward. And here's some real clear evidence that, having that first home gives you a substantial or substantially more money for down payment for the next home. So are there any additional factors that you can provide to the audience that would be of value about first-time home buyers and their realtors? Please be brief and relevant just to the United States real estate market.
Certainly, Mac. One important factor for first-time homebuyers is understanding the variety of programs available to help them, such as FHA loans that require lower down payments and have more leniency. They should also explore state and local assistance programs that offer grants or low-interest loans for down payments. Working with knowledgeable realtors who understand these options can significantly benefit first-time buyers in navigating the market.
Thank you for that, Sol. Let's move on to the next segment today. We're going to do Stoic Quote of the Week, and Stoic Quote of the Week is from Epictetus, who was alive in 50 to 135 CE. I guess that was, that makes sense. Was a Greek Stoic philosopher born as a slave in the Roman Empire. He gained his freedom and became one of the most influential teachers in Stoicism. And today's Stoic quote is, as you see it on the screen, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." And, I can tell you, I've been working on that, working with the public, and just, come on, life in general can be super challenging when dealing with other human beings, because I know I can be super challenging. And I've really tried to adopt this philosophy into my own personal life, and not to allow people to impact what I believe about myself, and not to react in a negative way, and try to deploy empathy. Speaking of empathy, there's a great book that I read this year. It's called Deploy Empathy. Great for any business owner that interacts with the public. And I tell you that if you can think about the other person first versus yourself, then it really puts you in a different place to serve the public in a meaningful way. Do you have any short comments, a brief comment you could offer us in relation to what I just said, Sol?
Absolutely. Mac, your approach aligns perfectly with the quote. Focusing on empathy and understanding others' perspectives can truly transform interactions, making them more positive and productive. It's a powerful reminder that our reactions and mindset are within our control, shaping our experiences and relationships.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's move on to Q&A today. Just me and you. So So let's start with Q&A, and I'm going to let you handle this one. Let's be brief in our answers, and I know that you have an enormous library of information that you could offer, but we only have a limited amount of time. So the first question today is a relevant one to today's first segment. How does a lower CPI impact mortgage rate trends?
A lower Consumer Price Index CPI typically signals reduced inflation, which can lead to lower mortgage rates. When inflation is lower, the Federal Reserve might adopt a less aggressive stance on raising interest rates, which in turn helps bring down borrowing costs, including mortgage rates. This can make home loans more affordable for buyers. Typically signals reduced.
Perfect. Hey, I'm just doing some checks on our channels. So the next question is, let's see. What factors contribute to inventory disparities across the regions in the United States?
Inventory disparities across regions are influenced by several factors. Key elements include local economic conditions, population growth, and housing supply constraints. For instance, areas with strong job markets and population influx, like Texas and Florida, often see higher demand and lower inventory. On the other hand, regulatory and zoning restrictions, as well as slower construction rates, can limit housing availability, particularly in the Northeast and Midwest. Additionally, migration patterns and affordability also play significant roles.
Perfect. That was a great answer. And last Q&A today that we just received, what are some creative ways to help clients save for down payment? I'm going to share first, and then I'm going to let you close that particular question out. But from my perspective, I teach in my first-time homebuyer class that we have on the first Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. is, hey, you got to know how much money you make. And it starts with your gross income, deducting all your taxes and expenses that come out of your paycheck. And then you have the raw net income, and you should measure that on a monthly basis. Now, if you're not on a fixed income and you have variable income, I would suggest averaging that over a 12-month to a 24-month to arrive at a figure that I believe would be reasonable for you to make decisions. Now, personally, I'm on variable income, so that's how I do that when I'm budgeting and thinking about making a large purchases. I would average my income over that 24-month period, make all the deductions, and then from that, subtract all of my mandatory expenses, evaluate my non-mandatory expenses, see what I can get rid of, and then whatever that bottom line is left at the end of every month, then I would devote a percentage of that to saving for down payment. So, Sol, can you be brief and just expound on what I just said, please?
Certainly, Mac. In addition to tracking income and expenses, clients can automate their savings by setting up a dedicated account for their down payment and arranging automatic transfers. Exploring side hustles or part-time work can also boost savings. Additionally, looking into programs that offer down payment assistance or grants can provide further support. Would you like to add anything else?
The only thing I would add, and then we're going to segue to the next segment, is there are some very attractive down payment and grant programs available for both FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA that we offer here. And I think I have several in process currently. So if you're a first-time home buyer, maybe have a little money saved, then contact me and let's do a free one-on-one consultation. We'll figure out where you're at and help you make a plan to move forward and become a successful homeowner in 2025. All right, let's have
that sounds great, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Sol. And hey, let's have a little fun now. I'm going to read the joke, right? And we are here to poke fun at me, poke fun at you, poke fun at builders, and pretty much just be lighthearted and not take ourselves so seriously. So joke number one, are you ready? Why don't real estate agents trust stairs?
Why not?
Why not? Well, it's because they're always up to something.
Good one.
Okay.
Stairs.
Yeah. Okay. What's the next one here? Do you know the next one, or do you want to recite it? Or do you want me to?
Go ahead and recite it.
Okay.
I'd love to hear it.
Mortgage lender's favorite type of exercise. Jumping to conclusions.
That's perfect.
Hey, I
A
know
good
I do that. I do that. So, and I do that, I try to take a crystal ball and say, oh, what could possibly happen here so that we can avoid any challenges during the process. So I like this one. Why did the builder bring a ladder to work?
Why?
To reach new heights. I think you made that one up, Sol. Did you make that one up? I think you made that one up. Okay, we're gonna try this one. I know you made this one up. What's a title company's favorite holiday?
What?
Closeness? You definitely made that one up too, but I like it. I like it. Why don't realtors like to play cards?
Why not?
You tell me.
Because they always worry about a full house.
Well, I guess that's a good answer, but the answer I had is they hate dealing.
That's clever.
Now,
Always a debate.
yes, thank you. And now for my favorite pun, bad puns. That's how I roll. And so, hey, thanks for tuning in today. And look, before we close out today, I want to give a shout out to an organization that I've had some experience with many, many years ago. It's all called ICANN Alliance, and it's an nonprofit organization that endeavors to help and or be there for blind athletes who want to do something outside of their normal framework of life, such as running a 5K, running a 10K. And you know what? There's going to be several blind athletes running the Houston Chevron half and full marathon tomorrow. So hats off to all the ICANN Alliance athletes. Hats off to their guides. And good luck tomorrow. It's going to be cold and it's going to be windy. So be sure to grab your trash bags. And I'm sure you know the drill. You take a trash bag, you cut out the head, you cut out the arms, you put it on, and that's your coat for the day, especially if it's raining. And with that said, we're going to bring Sol back in and we're going to say goodbye one moment. And hey, thanks for joining us for this week's episode of What's Up with Real Estate. And remember, knowledge is the key to making the best decisions for you and your clients. And hey, join us every Saturday here at 10 a.m. And we are a work in progress and we're having fun. And we believe that with my experience and Sol's knowledge, that if you have a question, we can find the answer. And until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you at closing. Sol, say bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Stay warm.
Have a great day. Stay warm. It's going to be cold over the next several days.
You too, Mac. Stay cozy.